Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome everyone, and also I thank everyone whoever have joined with us. So today we're having the fourth day of Swachhata Pakhwada, and today we are doing the audit of the food waste that we are generating in NISER campus, and the Swachhata Seva committee member, Ms. Ashwini Babruvahan Sethi, would be making a presentation, who is a technical officer in the School of Biological Sciences in Niger, and she would be telling us the details of the food waste that we are generating and how we are using those food waste now. So all this. So with this, now I invite Ms. Ashwini to make her presentation. So it's over to you.
Thank you, sir. So the topic is food waste management in NISER campus and ways forward. So what is food waste and how it is generated? So food waste pertains to the edible and inedible part of the food which is removed from the food chain, which need to be managed through recycling or disposal. So food waste, it may also be interpreted as the loss of edible food at different stages of the food chain, including harvest, production, processing, distribution, and consumption level. So food waste, it comprises two types based on the kind of waste produced. So first is the unavoidable food waste, which includes the expired or spoiled ingredients, food scraps such as meat scraps, and vegetable scraps, like the end of the vegetables that we are cutting. Then in avoidable food waste, there is meal scraps such as peeling or trimming waste, which is arising from the less proficient handling of the food items. Then overproduction of the food in events, then poor ordering protocols and poor food rotational practices, which causes the food spoilage. Then poor inventory system, which leads to food and plate waste. So these are the different different ways how waste was generated. So why is the food waste a global issue? The food waste that is dumped in the garbage bin, it ends in the landfill, where it rots and degrades, and it produces greenhouse gas, methane. So food waste also represents a great waste of the freshwater and groundwater resources, because a lot of water is consumed in the agriculture industry to grow these crops. Then food waste is also a valuable resource of energy, fuel, and fertilizer that we lose in the landfill. So the food in landfill, it produces the groundwater pollution. So food waste is a huge factor in pollution and climate change. So how much food is generated in NISER campus? So to get an answer to this question, I visited 4 canteens in the NISER campus: Rushikulya, Kaveri, Krishna, and Brahmaputra. So I got the information which I have represented in graphical form. So food waste generated per day. So this is the amount of waste generated from all the canteens. So 25 kg, 15 kg, 20 and 20 kg, like this. So the total amount of food waste that is generated from all the 4 canteen is coming around 80 kg. So it's 560 kg per week, 2 tons per month, and 28 tons, around approximately 28 tons per year. So this much amount of waste is getting generated from the canteen. This is about the food waste. So food waste from the canteen, it contains mainly the vegetable scraps, boiled ingredients, and the leftover of the kitchen waste, we can call. So this is the waste is generated in canteen. So now in canteen we have packaging system. So because of which the dining facility is not working. So that leftover food waste is not there. So the amount of food wastage is less. So how canteen is managing this waste? So the food waste that is generated from all the 4 canteens is taken up by the local people who take this waste. They segregate this food waste from other types of wastes, and they use this waste to feed the animals they have. So they separate paper, plastic, and then they get the food waste. So this waste they use as a animal feed, and they are rearing pigs, wild type of pigs they have. So at small level, so they are taking all this food waste and they are feeding the pigs. So the waste that is actually waste that is used as an animal feed. So when we come to the hostel or residential areas, so there are 2 different types of bins, dry and wet. So the waste that is produced, all the type of waste like paper, plastic, glass, metal, organic, everything, actually it is getting dumped in one type of dustbin. So it was difficult to get the answer, like how much waste is generated, food waste generated from these areas. So this we can discuss later. So how the waste management. So the traditional method of waste management includes 3 steps: reduce, reuse, and recycle. So source reduction is the easiest method to contain the waste matter. So we can take the minimum food which we need to which can be finished by the individual. So this can be possible at the individual level. Then reuse, food donation. We can donate the food which is left over or which is edible and which is good for human consumption. We can donate this food to the poor people or to the local needy people, or otherwise we can use this food as an animal feed. Next is the recycling. So after consumption, the leftover food, it can be used for the production of compost, biogas, biofuel, ethanol. So this is about the recycling. So I will talk about little bit about the recycling by composting. So composting is the natural process of recycling organic matter such as leaves and food scraps into a valuable fertilizer. Uh, uh, then anything that grows eventually decomposes. So composting, what it does, it simply speeds up the process by providing an ideal environment for the bacteria and fungi and other decomposing organisms to do their work. So composting food waste, it leads to decrease in the quantity of greenhouse gas, because when the biodegradable waste is composed, it decomposes aerobically. So it does not produce methane, but it produces organic compost. So composting food waste is the good way to reduce the amount of waste that is going to landfill. So while preparing compost, different parameters need to be monitored, like proper nutrient mix or carbon is to nitrogen ratio. It's very important to maintain the carbon is to nitrogen ratio in the 30s to 1. So if the ratio increases, the decomposition will be slowed, and if it increases, if it decreases, the foul order will come and nitrogen loss can occur. So 30s to 1 is the carbon is to nitrogen ratio. Then moisture content of 60% is optimal for the growth of the microorganisms. So below or above it, the process will become slower. Next is the aeration. So oxygen is essential for optimum microbial population to effectively break down the composting material. So this can be done by turning it, mixing it, or using the aeration tubes or aeration holes over the compost. Particle size affects the rate of decomposition of compost. The smaller the particle size, the more aeration the compost will receive, and microorganisms can break down the smaller pieces faster. So this can be done by cutting or chopping or clipping the material that we are using before it enters the compost pile. pH level. So 6 to 7.8 pH is considered as the high quality compost. So if we maintain the carbon to nitrogen ratio properly, then it will create an optimum pH level. So for starting compost, fairly neutral pH, it will ensure the high levels of microorganism for it to work. The next is the temperature. Temperature of the compost is important because biological activity takes place in the decomposition process. So lower the temperature, it will slower down the process, and warmer condition, it will speed up the process. So there are mesophilic bacteria which function at around 35 degrees. They start the composting process, and then thermophilic bacteria takes over and at around 60 degrees. So this high temperature, it destroys the weeds, seeds, and other pathogens from the compost. So after this, then there is the next step is maturation process. So again, the mesophilic bacteria, they take over this thermophilic bacteria, and the end product that we get is rich in humus, and yeah, it's similar to humus in texture, in appearance, in smell, and yeah, this is about the composting. So there are other methods also, but I have talked about composting. This can be done at a home level also. So these are the references which I referred. And last, I would like to say, you must be the change you wish to see in the world. This is written by Mahatma Gandhi. So with this, I would like to end the presentation.
So thank you so much, Ashwini, for a very detailed presentation and for collecting the data from the canteens and providing us all this information. So we may have discussion, and before that, I can tell you that so we can probably leave the presentation mode. You can stop presentation. Yeah, click on stop sharing. Yes, yes. Yeah, thank you so much. So, so at present we don't have a proper plan, but yeah, we good to know that at least this food waste is going into some okay, going to some agency which is using this as animal feed. So that means in true sense, food waste is not getting wasted. But NISER is already is already having a plan to set up a biogas plant, and hopefully we will be able to use those food waste in the coming months and get some biogas. And yeah, so that's what is our plan. But yeah, again, this estimation will be quite an underestimation, because at present people are not going to canteen, and so people are eating outside and they're throwing the waste food outside. So once we start using canteen, which will start from Monday, the amount of waste would increase substantially. Now on daily basis it is coming around 80 kg, but I think the amount would definitely exceed 100 kg. Okay. And then we have also not included the food waste that is coming from the residential area, particularly the quarters. And of course, in a few quarters, we see that people are using this food waste as a compost. They do the composting process, but not that every household does. So they put it in the waste bin, and so that will also be added. So what I can guess is that probably the food waste quantity would go up to maybe 150 kg, around probably. I'm including all food waste that would come from the households, and also when the canteen starts, when students start going to the canteen in full-fledged manner. So the amount would probably double, or at least you can say 150 kg of waste. So yeah, so we could get at least some sense how much food waste we are generating in the campus. So anybody would like to say something, or would like to suggest something?
Sir, we can take the canteen can take orders from the students so that the food wastage will be minimum.
Canteen can take.
Orders from the student, if they will take order, then they will make in the required amount.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So okay, I understood. So that means so how do they take the order? That means they have to uh, announce the menu in the morning, and that's how people start ordering food. That's what you are telling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So that could be probably a good sell. So that means you have to develop an app, and where you all have to order, or how to do, or online Google form or something, right? Oh, yes.
So we have to develop an app. Yes.
Yeah, the app would be better, right?
But
Okay. Okay. Nehal, you are uh, telling something. You had raised hand, Nehal. Yes, you can unmute and speak.
As I
You
said, that
should
it would
put
be
your video on also when you speak. That would be better, if possible. Yes.
so what was suggested would probably be a pretty tedious process. But if we do implement it, I mean, this is not happening right now, but ideally there is actually a pre-decided menu for every day.
Yes.
So there are certain things that the canteens must serve, and then there are only one or two specials in each canteen. So
Hmm.
it is not the challenge is not the menu not being available to students. That can be made available, and also we will of course need to make sure that the canteen stick to the menu. But the challenge would actually be taking the orders of these many students.
Uh, I am told that menu is available online. The canteen updates every day the menu.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
So they
Yes.
do update it every day, and I mean the only significance of that is actually the special items
Will be.
because so there is a PDF of the pre-decided menu that has been circulated amongst the students also. The
Mhm.
canteen has a website on which they update, but the only change in that is actually the special items. Everything else is same. It has been preset for every canteen by the food committee.
Okay, that means menu is available to all of you, right? Or it is
Yes,
available
sir.
in the public domain. So that is not the issue. But then, okay, pre-ordering thing that users have to decide, and so okay, so the suggestion is coming that if we do that, we can minimize the food. But whether the students will agree with this, that is what is important. But remember, this 80 kg, food waste that you see, these are not really food waste. No, you can say the vegetables. No, when you cut vegetables, you get the
Yes, sir.
residues. Yeah, so that way it will not be strictly, the cooked food that is thrown 80 kg. No, it's not. It would
No,
be in
sir.
fact much less.
Actually, the food Yeah, food loss is less. When I
Very
talked
less.
with canteen people, they told me the food loss, the food, the eating things, it's that loss is very less. So the spoiled items and the vegetable scrap is a lot of is
Yeah,
there.
vegetable scrap. Yes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, when students start going to canteen, I think the food waste amount may increase, but it will not be really too high. Maybe 150 may not be the case. So it would be somewhere around 100 kg per day total, because 80 kg now, and another 20 kg when all students start using, and yeah, maybe another 20 kg when you include the residential area, the quarters. So maximum 100, 120 kg of waste. That includes everything, starting from foods, food scrap, yeah, vegetable scrap or anything. But yeah, one challenge that we may face in future is that when we set up a biogas plant, the proposed biogas plant called NISER cannot process the bones, say chicken bones or mutton bones, uh, even fish bones probably. So that needs to be segregated in the coming days when we will have the biogas plant. So we'll be thinking then how to do that. We have to tell the users that don't put the chicken bones in the food waste bin. So that we have to do in future when the plant is set up, biogas plant is set up. Okay, but so at present, I don't see any other things like menu is available and then pre-ordering thing that the Wardens Council will decide. But I don't know whether students would agree with this also, because people have, once you start enjoying freedom, you may not compromise on that. And now you are enjoying a lot of freedom in choosing your food. So okay. So anybody would like to say anything else?
Sir, I have one more question to Ashwin.
Go ahead.
Ashwin, what will be the approximately value of this 80 kg of canteen waste?
Value means, do you think that they are selling to the people?
No. I'm just calculating how much price that we are the canteen guys are destroying per year. That can be utilized in some other way.
No, actually the waste, food waste which I have returned. So when I talked with the canteen people, what they told me, so they don't have any food loss. Food loss is not there. So only while washing utensils and other thing, that is approximately around 1 kg they are wasting. So the other things like end of the vegetables like cauliflower or cabbage leaves you can see, or pumpkin, the spoiled things you can see, the potatoes, tomatoes, like that spoiled vegetables are there in that.
Okay.
So it is not the eatable, it is not edible, inedible part. Yeah. Mostly vegetable scrap, spoiled ingredient, and then very less amount of leftover, and lot of kitchen waste is also there. So that actually they are not wasting, they are giving it to people who are using it as animal feed. So it is not getting wasted.
Okay.
So any other comments or queries from the participants? Okay, then if there are no other questions or comments, then we shall close this meeting today. And again, I would like to thank all the participants who could make it to join this meeting, and special thanks to Ashwin Babruban, who could collect this data and present before us. So now we have some idea about the amount of food that we are generating and how it is being managed. Okay. So with this, let us close this meeting. Thank you again. Thank you so much.